Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Phillies postgame. Although this one is more of a series recap. I apologize, but had some personal things going on this past week, and then it was Easter weekend, and the games don't stop, but life keeps going. So I figured I would come to you guys here after they wrapped up the 4-game set out in Denver against the Colorado Rockies, where the Phillies lost 3 of 4 to Colorado, and they continue to not play well in Denver at all. That place has not been kind to them over the past couple of years. I think they lost 13 in a row before they won one, but still 3 of 4, so they're like 1-15 in their last 16 out there. But they dropped to 12-9 overall and 4-5 away from the friendly confines of Citizens Bank. So let's take a brief run through the 4 games here. I'll still keep it to the 10-15 minute mark, and we'll just kind of give you an oversight on what's going on. In Thursday's game, the Phillies lost 6-2. That was Zach Eflin's game. He actually was standard Zach Eflin, in my opinion. Went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and that's a good outing in Colorado where the ball flies, going 6 innings, only giving up 2 runs. I can't fault Zach for his effort. Honestly, again, being the 5th starter, you're going to be happy with that start most of the time. After that, we went to the bullpen where things did not go well for the Phillies. The duo of Alvarez and Nicasio, both additions this past offseason, have not been good here in the first month of the season and potentially could be replaced down the line. However, they are making a decent amount of money, so they could be stuck here in the politicalness of baseball. But Victor Arano in between went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 runs. We found out later, I believe it was Saturday, he was warming up and he had a little bit of an issue with his elbow, and elbow inflammation landed him on the injured list. So he's going to be out for probably upwards of a month here, because if it's a 2-week injury, give him a week to get back healthy on a throwing program, and there you go. You're looking at a month. Offensively for the Phillies, they really didn't have much going all night. They only had 5 hits on the evening, and 3 of them actually came from Cesar Hernandez. So Cesar, who's had a rough couple of weeks to start the year, has actually turned it around in the past 2 weeks with his 3 for 4 evening. He took his average up to 270. Eflin actually had one of the other hits. That's how poor the offense was, with JT Realmuto going 1 for 4 with the 2 RBIs on the evening for the Phillies. So another rough showing in the first game out in Denver, and you're thinking, wow, we may be in for another long weekend. That took us to Friday's game, which was Vince Velasquez's start. And honestly, Vinny Velo was pretty good again. He had a really good outing. He went 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. His ERA for the year is 2.55, which is excellent for Vince. And honestly, he's really establishing himself here, and through 4 starts, you have to be really happy with what you're getting from Vince Velasquez. And if he continues this for the rest of the year, we're going to have ourselves the breakout candidate we thought we were getting in Nick Pivetta. After Vince, we went to Sir Anthony Dominguez for 1 out, and honestly, I'm a little confused with Gabe Kapler's usage of Sir Anthony. Last year, he was the main reliever. He was used in all the big spots, went multiple innings, and this year twice in the last, I think, 7 days they've used him for 1 out, and he didn't go back out there. So we're using our best reliever in a bullpen that's been struggling for 1 out and less than 10 pitches here in a couple of games, and I think that's on Gabe Kapler. So I don't know if a lot of people are talking about that yet, but the use of Sir Anthony Dominguez is soon to be a conversation if the rest of the bullpen continues to struggle. After him, Adam Morgan, who's been our best relief pitcher by far, he went a scoreless inning, struck out 2. He continues to throw well. Pat Neshek had a scoreless inning. He keeps his ERA at 1.04. Hector Neris, 1 inning with 3 strikeouts. He's throwing the hell out of the ball. Alvarez went a scoreless inning. He bounced back from the night before, and honestly, this was the game where they blew it in the bottom of the 12th inning, extra inning game. Let's see here. We had Andrew McCutchen 1 for 2. Scott Kingery 1 for 3, but Scott Kingery tweaks a hamstring in this game, and he ends up on the injured list. So quite a few Phillies on the injured list, and 3 of them specifically with hamstrings, and Odubel Herrera, Scott Kingery, and Gene Segura. So the Phillies better be taking a look at some of the pregame preparation here and maybe the stretching routine and do a little bit more calisthenics or something, because 3 guys with hamstrings in 3 to 4 weeks, that's a little bit of a trend that's a little disturbing. So Bryce Harper had his first career 5-hit game. He was 5 for 7. He had the go-ahead double in the 12th inning, I believe it was. That was his first career 5-hit game, which was surprising for a guy of Bryce Harper's caliber. And Rhys Hoskins 3 for 6, so the two of them combined for 8 hits to raise their average. And Phil Gosselin, who's a local kid from Philadelphia, Penn Charter, was a high school teammate of a college buddy of mine. We played against him at the University of Virginia as freshmen in 2008, and he was a good kid, so I'm rooting for him with the Phillies here. But that'll about do it. And Franco 3 for 6, so a solid game. But Juan Alvarez, again, 1 strike away, gives out a 2-run double in the bottom of the 12th, and the House of Horrors continues out there in Colorado. That takes us to Aaron Nola's game on Saturday, where right out of the gate, things didn't look good. He gave up home runs in the first and the second inning, and one of them was an inside the Parker that Roman Quinn misplayed off the center field wall. It just didn't look good out of the gate, but credit to the Phillies offense because they continued to pound away and eventually put up an 8 spot and were able to finally win a game out in Colorado. But like I mentioned, Aaron Nola settled down, and honestly, when you get 5 2/3 and 3 runs out of Nola, you'd be a little bit disappointed heading into this year, but it's been almost his best start. So he improved to 2-0, lowered his ERA to 6.84. Adam Morgan came in for a hitter again. Gabe Kapler using our best reliever for 1 out. Not sure he's using the bullpen most effectively. Sir Anthony did go 1 inning here, so he learned from that mistake. And Pat Neshek had a rough outing, but Hector Neris was able to hold it down and get our save. And Hector Neris is our closer, guys. For everybody who's thinking we're closing by committee, not so fast. We're actually going to roll with Hector Neris the rest of the way, or at least until he screws up again. On the offensive side, the Phillies, like I said, score 8 runs, and the top 5 hitters in the lineup doing their part, with Andrew McCutchen 2 for 5 and Cesar 2 for 5 again. Bryce Harper 1 for 5, Hoskins 3 for 5, Real Muto 2 for 5. So good outing offensively for the guys. They finally enjoyed hitting in Denver and scored enough runs to get the win. That takes us to Sunday's game, the Easter game, where Jared Eichhoff made his first start of the year. He actually had a really good start. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 runs, so an average start for Jared. I maybe was a little bit overzealous. I didn't realize it was a 4-spot for him, and he was responsible for those runs because Austin Davis then came in and had a hectic 2 innings with 2 walks and 3 hits, but ultimately not giving up any runs. But the Phillies offense stayed in the hotel today on the travel day Sunday, scoring only 1 run, and Andrew McCutchen 2 for 5. His average at 275. Cesar 1 for 5. He's hitting 253. Harper was 0 for 3, but he did walk to extend his on-base streak for every game this year. He's been on base at least once. Rhys Hoskins 0 for 4. Franco 1 for 3. Quinn 0 for 4. He's only hitting $125. Been up here a couple of games now, taking over for Odubel Herrera, but has not looked good. Phil Gosselin doing what he can, 0 for 4. Andrew Knapp finally got a hit. He's 1 for 1, raises his average, but honestly, just not a strong showing, and the Phillies, with their tail between their legs, are happy to get out of Colorado with 1 win because they just do not play well at that place at all. So the Phillies lose 3 of 4 to Colorado. They do remain in first place at 12-9. The rest of the division kind of beating up on each other, and after that first opening series sweep of Atlanta, the Phillies are 9-9 and playing .500 ball. They've been hit by the injury bug pretty hard. They got Nick Pivetta down, so they got 5 guys on the injured list and 1 guy in AAA, so that's almost a third of the team that started the year and they thought would contribute to a division-winning team is not currently with them and contributing. So a little bit of adversity here early on as the Phillies now travel to a divisional series with the Mets, with Jake Arrieta going on the hill Monday night, and what's a big series as we got to get back on track with a team that ultimately we're going to be competing with all summer. So big series for the Phils. We're looking to our ace right now, Jake Arrieta, for a big start, and hopefully the offense can show up as we head back east. But the Phillies continue to trek along in this, I think, 17 games in 17 days, but they seem to almost be running out of gas, which isn't a good thing. We'll see if Gabe starts to give some guys some days off, mess around with the lineup with all these injuries, but stay tuned here. It's going to be fun to watch. Still in first place, still an entertaining team, and it's going to be a long, fun summer. thanks you guys for bearing with me. I'll be back hopefully doing some more post-game, game by game, now that we're on the East Coast, and I'm back in action. As always, this is Miho with the Too Close to Call. I appreciate you listening.